Looting and violence against Chinese property, civilians and police. This is the picture Chinese state television is painting of the most recent rioting by Tibetans in Lhasa. As footage of damaged buildings and injured police are released, Beijing's raised its official death toll from a week of rioting to 22. But the Tibetan government in exile claims 99 Tibetans have been killed. China has issued a most wanted list of rioters. It's reported 3 of the 21 suspects have already been arrested. What its state television hasn't shown is its official response to the riots. Earlier this week, ITV News filmed hundreds of troops heading for Tibetan areas and obtained footage where foreign media is banned. This is about as close as a foreign journalist can get to a free Tibet protest without Chinese interference, one of many being organised around the world by exiled Tibetans. As hundreds of campaigners in London descended on the Chinese embassy, we spotted an official filming them.
They have no freedom, nothing in there, nothing in Tibet. So no one knows where are our brothers and sisters. It's all been killed now. They are killing now. So we want that to stop now.
A Chinese embassy spokesman insists the door remains open for talks between Beijing and the Tibetan spiritual leader. At demonstrations in northern India, the Dalai Lama called for peaceful protests. China is only too aware that he remains their best chance of avoiding a major Tibetan uprising. Chris Rogers, ITV News.
Some stories in brief tonight. A report into the death of teenager Scarlett Keeling is expected to conclude she was killed after her head was forcibly held underwater. It's understood a report from Goa Medical College will rule out the possibility that the 15-year-old from North Devon died from a drugs overdose. Indian police have arrested 2 men over Scarlett's death. Anti-nuclear campaigners say they're disappointed at reports that Britain and France will launch a joint venture to build new nuclear power stations. The Guardian newspaper says the plans will be unveiled when French President Nicolas Sarkozy visits Britain next week. And rain and strong winds will continue to make it a bleak Easter weekend for much of the country. Gales of up to 50 miles an hour sent waves crashing over the seawalls at Whitley Bay and Tyneside today. Forecasters predict there's more on its way. Sport, and with the top 4 all in action tomorrow in the Premier League, today the focus was on the battle to avoid relegation. Newcastle United's first victory under Kevin Keegan may well have condemned Fulham to relegation. Mark Viduka opened the scoring, and a goal from Michael Owen in the second half made the final score Newcastle 2, Fulham 0, to the obvious relief of manager Kevin Keegan.
Yeah, delighted with the win. It took a long time, longer than possibly I thought, or maybe anybody thought, supporters, everybody, but we've got there, and we've got there with a clean sheet, some good invention, and we've worked hard as a team, and that's always been the success of Newcastle sides, is to play as a team, and we're getting that now.
In the Scottish Premier League, Rangers beat Hibernian 2-1 to extend their lead at the top to 6 points. Jean-Claude Dacheville put the Glasgow side ahead at the end of the first half. Meanwhile, Dundee United took 75 minutes to break the deadlock against Motherwell. Substitute Danny Swanson with this excellent solo effort. Mark de Vries then sealed it 2 minutes from time. United move up into 3rd place. Britain's Lewis Hamilton has been penalised heavily ahead of tomorrow morning's Malaysian Grand Prix. The British driver was relegated 5 grid places for impeding other drivers during qualifying. As John Gilbert reports, he'll now start the race in 9th place.
Qualifying a disappointing 4th place for the Malaysian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton's day was about to get worse. As he slowed down to conserve fuel, rival Nick Heidfeld was forced wide, costing the BMW driver vital time and prompting an official complaint.
Yeah, very clearly. I reported that on the radio, and yeah, from my point of view, it was not correct what they did.
Hamilton, judged guilty, was demoted 5 places on the starting grid, adding to existing woes over his underperforming car.
Whether or not we got the best job done, I'm sure I didn't. So I've got to go and look and find out where I was losing time.
No such problems for Ferrari. Felipe Massa and Kimi Raikkonen qualified 1st and 2nd respectively. Hamilton, though, starts a distant 9th on the grid. Are the boy wonders' winning ways starting to stutter? John Gilbert, ITV News.
And you can see the Malaysian Grand Prix live here on ITV1 tomorrow morning. Our coverage starts at 6:15. The race itself starts at 7. England's cricketers are hoping to mount a fight back after a dismal start to the deciding test against New Zealand in Napier. This evening, New Zealand polished off the England innings after winning the toss. England were eventually bowled out for 253. Ryan Sidebottom, the last wicket to fall. A short time ago, the Kiwis were making good progress. In reply, they're 93 for 1. And that is it. There are bulletins throughout the night here on ITV1, and I'll be back with the lunchtime news tomorrow at 2:05. But for now, from me and the rest of the Saturday team, good night.
Okay, now let's see if we can make a saving on your car insurance. That's great. If I can just take a few details.
ITV National Weather, sponsored by eShore.
Hello again, good evening. It's still a very wintry picture out across much of the UK as another band of sleet and snow works its way southwards across the UK, and it's going to continue moving steadily southwards as we move throughout the night, finally resting down towards the south and southeast by the time we get to the morning, and it's pretty much going to stay there throughout Easter Sunday. Now, the further centrally and westwards you go, the drier and brighter conditions are going to be, although wintry showers really never far away, and it's not exactly going to feel warm because once again we are going to see some fairly cool temperatures, and add to them the very chilly northerly winds, so make sure you wrap up warm. Now, looking ahead to Easter Monday, once again we are going to be seeing some outbreaks of rain and snow, mostly towards the north and west, mostly sunny in between. Good night, see you soon.
ITV National Weather, sponsored by eShore. Change your outlook and enjoy England's south coast and the Channel Islands. Clyde, sponsors of STV Weather.
With a spell of fairly heavy snow moving south and east across the country overnight, with as much as 15 centimetres of snow over the higher grounds. Clearer spells will follow towards dawn, and with light winds and a low of -1 Celsius, we're likely to see some icy stretches developing. Now, most of us can look forward to a bright, if somewhat cold start to the day tomorrow. A few wintry flurries will pester the north and east, but for most of us it should be a dry morning. The afternoon will remain fairly quiet for most, with central and western parts seeing the best brighter sunny spells. So taking a look at tomorrow afternoon in a little more detail. Any snow flurries in the east will be fairly few and far between, with some places missing out altogether. Further west is where we'll probably see the best of the sunshine. On to the outlook then. The wintry weather will continue as we start the new week. Monday will dawn with a mixture of sunshine and snow showers. And Tuesday will see a return to sunny spells and wintry flurries. With northerly winds continuing, it'll still feel pretty cold.